I am talking through this here because I need an unbiased ear. And you are an unbiased ear because you don't know me like that. Of course, my friends are going to be on my side. My family's going to be on my side. But that's why I'm making this video. And I want to talk it through. And I might not even post it. But if I do, then whatever. But I think I just need to hear it. I just had an experience. Well, today I've been having an experience that has concluded that I don't feel good about, like at all. I go to retreats and stuff, and there was a girl who I roomed with on a retreat. Now, let me tell you a little backstory. First of all, let me start before the backstory of this story, because it's my story. I am not everybody's cup of tea. Typically, people either like me or dislike me off the rip. It is literally no in between. And then usually they end up liking me. But that is none of my business, whether they end up liking me or not. My job is to be a kind human. Be a kind human. I stand by that. So when I got the ticket to this retreat, it was magic, you guys. It was magic because the retreat had been sold out. I was on the waiting list, and one day I just went into my account and was like, I want to go, and just tried to book it, and I did. So that was the first piece of magic. Then I was like, okay, well, all of the rooms, I need to find somebody to room with out there. And I look online, and I find this girl. We shared the same name, and it was magic. I was like, man, look at how that's working out. And from my understanding, we got along really well. I mean, we decompressed at the end of the day. We talked about our experiences. We walked to and from these sessions. And, you know, we left with a big hug. And I didn't think anything of it. So there's another retreat coming up. And I messaged her to ask her. I was excited. Hey, where are you going? And I didn't get a response. And I was like, oh, that's weird. But, you know, we grown. Folks have stuff to do. We don't talk every day. I don't need to, you know, get a response right away. But I go to check her socials to check on her to see, like, if she's good. And she's not following me anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I ask, like, hey, is there some beef that I don't know about? Did I do something to you that I'm not aware of? Because that can happen. I'm kind, but that doesn't mean that I can't get on your nerves or offend you in some way. Of course I can. My experience of that week was magic. And she was a part of that experience for me. And mystical things happened, and we shared our mystical experiences with each other. And I just kind of scrolled through my mind to think of, like, okay, if some offense occurred, when would it have happened? And I just couldn't. And so that is why I reached out to find out. Because if I felt like I was guilty of something, I would have been like, she's probably pissed off at that, so there's no reason to bring that. But I wasn't. And her response the first time was very vague. I'm like, yeah, well, that's cool, but I need specifics. She goes on to list some very specific things. She brought up that she was tired of my victim stories. She brought up me saying that I didn't like somebody that we had just met. There was one story in particular where I'm a writer, and these two girls basically were like, did you really? And I'm like, yeah, my play is like online. I think I actually did it. It was just like really, like, it was like a mean girl little thing happening. And I'm sharing these things with my roommate because, I mean, she's the person I am there with, even though, like, I'm not there with anybody. Does that make sense? And thinking that we had built a rapport and a bond by now. The other things that she said was that I came in and out of our room all night long, slamming drawers and doors without any regard for her feelings. Okay. And that she left the event, which she typically feels like is her home space, feeling physically and emotionally drained by me. As an adult, I can say, you know what? Yeah, you did go to sleep, and I would leave the room before you went to sleep, and I would come in. That could have disrupted your sleep. No doubt. I did open the drawer to put on pajamas. Absolutely. That could have easily disrupted your sleep. However, at what point do you just let it ride and continue to get mad versus just allowing somebody to remedy the issue that you have with them? Mind you guys, this was like a 5-day event. We were there 6 days or something like that. I arrived before her, and we both traveled quite a distance. And one of the things she said, wasn't my victim story, was that I talked about how long the check-in process was. Well, after you travel for several hours, when you get to the hotel, the last thing you want to do is have a 2-hour check-in process, especially when there's only 2 people in line ahead of you. Me telling her that it was long was so that she could get her mind right prior to getting there and having to endure what I did. And she traveled like twice as long as I did. I have a right to have a feeling about people when I meet them if I don't like them. I'm okay with that. But if I was so disruptive of your sleep to the point where you felt like I wasn't considering your feelings, then why not just say something about it? I owned that, even though she too spent time on the phone until she got ready to go to bed with no regard of the lights being on and her voice and me being in bed. But I didn't have a problem with it, so I didn't say anything about it. But the 3 nights that I came back into the room after she was asleep, she let these things build up and build up and build up. And while she was complaining about my victim story, became a victim of her own circumstance when she could have just spoken up. She allowed me to ruin about $4,000 retreat that she usually feels like is home. And at the end of it, I'm like, yo, so much of this could have been preventable. Yeah, I am wrong in whatever you feel like I was wrong for, but I have no way of remedying that without you telling me that I am offending you. At the end of it, I'm like, you know what? How you do one thing is how you do everything. This conversation you're having with me right now, and me saying like, yo, you could have just said something, this is a bigger conversation that you need to have with somebody that really matters to you, not just some girl from the retreat. Because I'm not the only one that you're not saying something in an attempt to keep the peace, but you're in turmoil. So say what you need to say. Say the things. So when it's all said and done, the part about it that makes me feel really icky, that's leaving me feeling with this heavy, that tastes nasty feeling, is that because she wasn't honest, I have to go back and reflect on how I'm reading the room, or whether I'm reading the room or not at all. This woman basically told me today that she hated her experience with me. And I didn't sense that at all. Like, at all. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, how many fake people have been around me that are smiling in my face and secretly hating me. And I don't even know. And I don't even sense it because I'm like, yeah, it's all love. Everything's happening and it's all good. It makes me think about the relationships I've chosen. And how do I keep myself from being in spaces where people really don't fuck with me, pretend that they do.